destruction.
And hundreds of species face growing threats at the Mole National Park amid encroachment, destructive farming and bush burning.
Protect the areas such that it is maintained, nothing comes into it, like to destroy the ecology.
That way to see what alternative livelihood programs which can be given to the communities and inhabitants around the fringes of this reserve.
We have more in our climate evidence series today, and
hey,
High Life music legend Kojo Ntwi weighs in on the controversy that has followed the death of fellow legend Daddy Lumbazi. Says men in particular must put their affairs in order, stressing the legacy is defined not only by how one lives, but by how carefully one is arranging their life before the end.
As a person.
These and more with me, Maame Esi Nyamekye Thompson. This is Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. Please stay. Let's get into the details now. Interior Minister Haji Muntaka Mubarak has sounded the alarm of a rise in crime and mounting pressure on Ghana's borders, warning that the country's internal security environment is facing intense strain. Addressing the Interior Ministry's annual performance review, the minister said public concern over crime trends, transactional threats and accountability in the security sector is intensifying, placing fresh demands on law enforcement and internal security agencies. He acknowledged improvements in interagency collaboration, intelligence-led operations, and digital reforms, but stressed that the gains remain fragile amid persistent vulnerabilities.
Over the last year, the security environment has continued to evolve. We have observed heightened public concern over crime trend, persistent border security pressures linked to transnational threats, increasing demand for effective regulation, and growing public scrutiny regarding accountability, service delivery, and respect for human rights. At the same time, the sector has recorded notable gains. These include stronger interagency collaboration, progress in digitalization and intelligence-led operations, improve in emergency response, and reform aimed at professionalism and oversight. These mixed outcomes underscores the importance of a deliberate, evidence-based performance review such as this one. Ladies and gentlemen, this workshop is not convened merely to recount activities or define statistics. It's convened to interrogate results, confront implementation gaps, and agree on corrective actions.
My colleague Kenny JC has been covering the annual review and joins me on the phone lines. Kenneth, how serious is the pressure on Ghana's internal security environment based on what has been presented so far?
Well, obviously, it's quite serious. According to the Interior Minister, he's describing the security environment that is clearly under strain with rising public concern about crime, sustained pressure along Ghana's borders especially, and the increasingly scrutiny over how security agencies are operating. So the meeting is currently ongoing. He's trying to urge the security heads to also diversify how they approach such crimes to be up to date with how criminals operate now in the country.
Right, Kenneth. So what crime trends are officials highlighting as most worrying, and how does it compare with previous years?
Well, we are yet to hear from the other officials, but the minister has also been talking about the fact that especially the border regions, there's sustained pressure on the border regions, and he's repeatedly pointed to the border security pressures, which are linked to transnational threats, indicating that Ghana's borders are a key vulnerability right now, especially in the northeast region. And he's been urging the security heads to be on the lookout, to be prepared. You do recall that there was the recall of arms, unlicensed arms in the wrong hands. The minister has also said that they are intensifying the efforts to try and recruit or recoup all the arms or guns that are in the wrong hands in the country, particularly in the border regions as well.
Well, again, the security agencies admitting to capacity gaps such as maybe manpower or even logistics or surveillance.
Well, as we speak right now, as I mentioned earlier, the security agencies are yet to present their annual budget review. The minister finished speaking not long ago, but the minister has urged them not to hold back, to tell him all the challenges that they are facing. So the expectation is that all these issues are going to come up in the next 30 to 1 hour as the event progresses, Maame Esi.
As we review the financial and non-financial performance of the sector for 2025, our discussions must remain firmly anchored on outcomes. What worked, what didn't work, why that was so, and how we translate these lessons into clear priority, credible budgets, and coordinated actions in 2026. To the heads of the agencies, I urge you to approach this review with candor, ownership, and strategic focus. Leadership demands honesty about constraint, decisiveness in addressing weaknesses, and clarity in driving reform. Let us therefore use this workshop to strengthen alignment, sharpen coordination, and reaffirm our collective responsibility to deliver security services that inspire public confidence and support national development. I look forward to frank discussion, practical recommendation, and clear strategic direction.
And you hear the Interior Minister Muntaka Mubarak. Moving on, the Ghana Cocoa Board says it has commenced payments to licensed buying companies to enable them to settle outstanding amounts owed to cocoa farmers for beans already delivered. The development follows growing concerns over prolonged payment delays, which have left many farmers unpaid for months, raising fears about the sustainability of the sector. Cocoa Board, however, explained that the delays were due to challenges in securing syndicated funding. Now, the deputy spokesperson at the presidency, Shamima Muslim, has blamed the previous government for the current challenges, accusing the NPP of leaving behind nearly 40 million cedis in debt within that sector. She also alleged that some cocoa farmers affiliated with opposition are instigating the current concerns.
Let me announce and say clearly that they left a debt of 32.9 billion cedis. That is what NPP left behind when they exited.
Oh, it's 32.
And you know, it was 9 billion in total cedis. I was breaking it down into our commitments in dollar terms and in cedi terms, because some of our debts is in dollar terms as well. And again, I said it that it is not true that Cocoa Board is not buying. Why these kinds of lies? The farmers that we have bought from, they know, and I've just given you the figures. These are the volumes that Cocoa Board has purchased from our farmers through the license buying companies, you know. But let me let him know that we are aware of what they are doing behind the scenes. The instigations they are, you know, instigating farmers, you know, sympathetic to the MPP cause.
Thank you.
Well, former Public Relations Officer of Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo, has responded, arguing that Shamima Muslim does not fully appreciate the real challenges facing Cocoa Board.
I find it very, very worrying listening to Shamima, my sister, explaining why we are here. I know Shamima doesn't work at Cocoa Board. She is only stating these information, sharing out this information because she has been briefed. And the worrying aspect is that the true situation has been hidden from Shamima, who is at the presidency. So she does not appreciate the enormity of the problem, the real situation we find ourselves in. The hole that the new management have dug and put us in as a country. The presidency is not getting the information.
Now, Global Info Analytics is projecting a win for Haja Amina Adams, wife of late MP for the Ayawasu East, Nasir Toure Mohammed, in the upcoming NDC parliamentary primaries in Ayawasu East. The pollster's latest data shows she is leading her closest contender, Baba Jamal, across general voters and party delegates, even after factoring in concerns around her eligibility and vetting. The projections suggest a clear path to victory under the NDC's first past the post system. And Hannah Odame is with me in the studio to take us through this. So, Hannah, tell us how this poll was conducted and what the outcome is.
So, Maame Esi, a sample of 1,509 voters from 11 electoral areas in the Ayawaso East constituency was used. On the general voters poll, Haja Enima Adam is leading with 58%, followed by Baba Jamal with 32%. For the remaining three contendants, we have Dr. Yakubu and Honorable Mohammed Rami. They got 5% each, while Najib Mohammed Sani got 1%. Also, per the report, many proxies were used as a yardstick in determining these responses across general voters and the party delegates. So these included the virtual vetting controversy that we all heard about, the issue on whether or not she should contest for the seat due to the EIDA concerns as well as the delegates' preferences. However, Hajia Enima Adams came on top among the 5 candidates in all of these proxies if you take into consideration the NDC's simple majority win election system.
Thank you, Hannah Odame. Now, a constitutional lawyer, Justice Abdullahi, has questioned the basis on which the sentence of evangelist Patricia Siama, popularly known as Agrada, was reduced from 15 years to 1 year. Now, Patricia Siama was slapped with a 15-year prison term in July 2025 for defrauding by false pretense and charlatanic advertisement. On Thursday, the Amasaman High Court today reduced the years to 12 months. Let's get more of that ruling, and joining me is Fred Smith, and he's given us details of this. So, Fred, many have asked the grounds on which the appeal was presented and how the judgment was arrived at.
Well, based on court evidence, the earlier conviction and sentence were unreasonable. It also notes that the trial was wrongful, claiming she was denied a fair trial, and court details also indicate that the sentence was harsh and excessive. In reducing the sentence, the court also affirmed some penalties and allowed for concurrent sentences, and this directly has an impact on her overall time in custody, meaning that the reduced sentence would run concurrently from the date of Agrada's conviction.
Thank you, Fred. Well, Justice Abdullah is, however, not convinced of the outcome of yesterday's proceeding and is questioning how this would serve a deterrent to others engaged in similar activities.
I am at a loss as to how a conviction of 1 year and 2,000 cedis is an enhancement, and as to how this serves as a deterrent to her and people who are within the same space, because the objective of punishment is to serve as a deterrent and to serve as a signpost for anyone else who is in that space or thinking of entering that industry to be on the lookout that this kind of punishment awaits you. And so in our judicial system, particularly criminal jurisprudence, there are a lot of instances where you'd find fines being dropped from a number of years to a particular number of years. But in my entire years of legal practice, this is the highest I've seen, from 15 to 1 year. But I've never seen this before. Honestly, I wasn't expecting anything less than 3 years. But to say that the conviction was correct, but the sentence was too harsh, I think that did not take into consideration adequately the previous conviction.
Well, members of Agrada's Church Heavenway Champion International Ministry say they are geared up for celebration on Sunday. They spoke to Hannah Odami.
It will be lots of excitement at the Heavenway Champion International Ministry on Sunday, as the pastors have declared it will be an all-white apparel Sunday to give thanks to God for the reduction of sentence for their founder and leader, Evangelist Patricia Isiama.
We thank God for this victory. We are saying a big thanks to those who supported us and to the judge.
Attributing this to the hand of God, they are extending a hand of invitation to all church members to be present on Sunday to give thanks to God that their prayers have been heard.
So we are praying that all the church members that have been staying home and all that, they should all come, and then Sunday is going to be a Thanksgiving service.
Reporting from the Heavenway Champion International Ministry here in Weja, I am Hannah Odame for Joy News.
Well, what's your take on this latest decision by the court? Here's what some of you told us when we shared our microphones with you.
I'm not happy that they've given somebody 15 years. The person has committed a crime. The law must face the person. If it's 15 years, the person is supposed to be in 15 years. They shouldn't come like 5 years, 1 year, whatever. When it happens, so the law is not taking its place or its course.
15 years is too much for her. When you go deep, you can see that people are doing sin, but in their case, it's normal.
We are all human, and we are meant to make mistakes, and we are meant to be corrected. So once he has been to the prisons and then been corrected, I believe when it comes, he will change. So it's not a big deal.
The Ghana Armed Forces have partnered with the French military for intense jungle warfare training to equip Ghanaian soldiers wage a more effective war against illegal mining. The French and Ghanaian armies have for weeks now been engaging in live fire training in the jungle at the Achiase Jungle Warfare Training School in their quest to combat armed illegal miners. My colleague Gemma Apia spent a day with the troops and reports.
Gunshots ringing out at the jungle village inside the Jungle Warfare School as Ghanaian soldiers undergo specialized training aimed at fighting illegal mining.
In a real combat situation. So, in a real combat situation, when I get shot at short range in a jungle environment, the first thing I'm going to do, because
the exercise is being conducted in partnership with the French military, who have joined the Ghana Army in the jungle for weeks of intensive training. The program focuses on 4 key areas designed to strengthen the fight against illegal mining. France was selected for this exchange program because of its experience tackling illegal mining in French Guyana, one of its overseas territories.
A bit slower, but with more precision.
Commander of the Army Training Command, Brigadier General Joshua Amano, explains that the soldiers undergoing the training are not currently part of NIMOS. He notes that troops on active NIMOS operations cannot be withdrawn for training, but due to routine rotations, these soldiers could soon be deployed to apply the skills they have acquired.
Remember that when you deploy troops, after a while, we do what we call relief in place. So you change them, you rotate them.
The head of the French military team, Lieutenant Nicolas, says the engagement has been mutually beneficial.
It's been very interesting. We showed our way to the Ghanaian, but the most interesting part was learning how they do it. Well, we learned a lot about jungle survival. They are very strong in this area.
The Ghanaian soldiers say the French doctrine is not very different from what they are already used to, but acknowledge they have picked up new skills that will help them more effectively combat illegal mining.
Although our doctrine is not far from them, but we are also taking something out of what we are learning so far.
So now they have taught us how to provide improvised structure, which are very good. That one I've learned it a lot.
Gentlemen, show John News and Ghanaians your face. Yeah! Jangler, jangler, jangler. Live, fight or die hard. Ahua!
Reporting from the Jungle Warfare School in Achiase in the Eastern Region, my name is Gemma Apia for Joy News.
Server! Server!
You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. We'll take a break when we return. It's Where Fugu Friday as Ghanaians flood social media with open Fugu photo shoots in response to the Zambian social media troll as President Mahama makes special donation of the apparel to his Zambian counter.
You know, people were commenting about my arrival, and one person said, "Oh, but what blouse is he wearing?" That's it. And it triggered a whole social media firestorm. Yeah. But incidentally, you know what? And then I gave him a fugu.
Plus the Zambian president's response.
Various platforms that we're associated with, that President of Zambia will be ordering more of that stuff for himself.
Welcome back to the Midday News. We are sports with Momorak.
Maame Esi, Black Stars forwards Jordan Ayew and Fatau Isahaku have been dealt a major blow after Leicester City were handed a 6-point deduction by the English Football League for breaching financial rules. The sanction takes immediate effect, pushing the Foxes from 17th to 20th in the English Championship, with the club now only outside the relegation zone on goal difference. Leicester are winless in their last 4 matches and are without a manager following the sacking of Martí Cifuentes last month. Before I go, Ghana's under-20 women's team are chasing an 8th successive World Cup appearance as they face an improved South Africa side in the first leg on Sunday. Here's Ghana's head coach Charles Simpson.
We have actually looked at them. We've discussed them ever since we finished with Tunisia. We followed their games. We also know that they are a good side. They look really schooled. So we look forward to a really good game. They play almost like us. They are a free-flowing team. They want to build up from behind. They want to go to attack with combinations, just like we also do. So I see it to be a little bit of an open game and an interesting one.
Charles Sampson is the head coach of Ghana's Black Princesses. Back to you, Maame Esi.
Thank you, Mubarak. Now, human activities are taking a toll on wildlife at Midday National Park, with encroachment, destructive farming, poaching, and bush burning threatening the protected area. Savannah Regional Minister Salisu Bia Rubi says government is working to provide alternative livelihoods and intensify education in the 33 fringe communities to reduce pressure on the park. Rafiq Salam reports from the Midday National Park.
It has land size of 4,577 square kilometers that covers 3 regions, Savannah, Northeast, and the Upper West regions, making it Ghana's largest wildlife refuge. I took a trip to the Midday National Park to speak with the authorities on the effect of humans on wildlife at the park.
We have over 94 species of mammals. We have over 330 bird species. We have 9 amphibians and 33 reptiles. Nocturnal animals like the leopard, the hyena, the caracal, the genetic civet cat, the porcupine, a whole lot of animals you could talk of.
Able to protect the area such that it is maintained, nothing comes into it like to destroy the ecology or the ecosystem, then we will help in doing that to reduce the climate change that we are experiencing now in the country and even beyond.
A view shared by the acting Apostle Director of the Environmental Protection Authority, Jonas Pierre-Cole.
But because we of our human activities, we are no more able to predict even our rainfall pattern. It's now erratic. It comes as and when. Some years we get half of what we're supposed to have gotten, though the water may be the same. But because there are no trees to protect the ground, everything evaporates. Even the runoff also run into the sea or into the streams, also run into the river.
Savannah Regional Minister Salisu Awurubi was expressing concern on the effect of human activities on wildlife at the Midday National Park, outlined some measures taken to help curb it.
We are working together with other partners to see what alternative livelihood programs which can be given to the communities and inhabitants around the fringes of this reserve so that they can engage themselves economically. We are equally trying to do additional education for which the people living around will treasure the reserve as their own.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam.
This story is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with CDK and Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from Claire R4I Opportunities Fund.
It's a Fugu Friday as Ghanaians mount strong social media response to Zambians over their troll of President Mahama's Fugu attire on his official visit. Social media went to buzz in the last 48 hours, with users from both countries taking on each other over the description of the Batakari as a blouse. The debate is getting even more interesting as presidents of both countries are drawn into the discussion. We'll hear from them shortly. First, my colleague Gemma Pia has seen or been to some shops in town to gauge how business is going and reports.
This is not the first time President John Mahama is wearing fugu outside the country on a state visit, but the reactions of Zambians to the president's attire has triggered conversations on social media. Social media is now washed with people wearing fugu, videos and photos of them wearing fugu on Friday. But here at the Arts Center, I've been speaking to some traders who say that the conversation and reactions on social media about fugu and the importance of wearing fugu and the traditional meaning behind fugu has not translated into massive sales for them.
If you wear suits in your country, he's also wearing the fugu to show you his culture. So this shouldn't have been a big deal. But about sales, it hasn't translated into sales yet. But I'm hopeful that a lot more people will start buying it.
I think it happened, that was Wednesday. But maybe we hope that in the days coming,
the purchasing will be high. Okay, to be honest, especially most of the foreigners, you see the original ones, because of the down, the way that they pleat is, most of them, they normally consider it as female dresses.
Well, the two presidents have also been commenting on the thread, and first listen to President Mahama express shock at the backlash from Zambians and what he did to promote the dress. He spoke in an exclusive interview with Joy News' Max Olagbagba in Lusaka.
I want the smoke to the United Nations, the highest platform in this world. I'm surprised that Zambians didn't see me in a smoke last September. Yeah, when I gave the speech that everybody's talking about, I was wearing a smoke. I'm surprised that they didn't notice it until I visited Zambia. And it was just because of an innocuous statement. You know, people were commenting about my arrival. And one person said, oh, but what blouse is he wearing? That's it. And it triggered a whole social media firestorm. But incidentally, you know what? When I arrived, we exchanged gifts, myself and President Chilema. He gave me a beautiful carving, you know, Zambian carving. And I appreciate it very much. I'm going to put it in my office and label it as a gift from President Chilema. And then I gave him a Fugu. So what I wore, I gave him one of that. And so he said he's going to order some more and then distribute it to his Zambian countrymen.
Well, this is the response from his Zambian counterpart, Hichilema.
Very happy that the foreign minister, you dressed like that. I asked my team to post on various platforms that were associated with that. President of Zambia will be ordering more of that stuff for himself.
For good to the world. Now, as conversations linger following the passing of Daddy Lumba, High Life legend Kojo is quietly reminding the living to prepare their paths with care. He spoke on Personality Profile with Lexus Bale.
As a person, because we are human. That means you cannot do everything as wanted. You may want to do that, you do it well. I need to work on mine.
Do you have one already?
Yet. I'm still working on it.
All right.
You see, because even the songs products that you have to determine who gets which song, who gets which album.
Okay.
So it's not as easy as a dying.
Yeah.
Kojo was on the program to speak about his upcoming book, a reflective look at a life shaped by music and connection, with love at its strongest theme. And ahead of the book's launch on the eve of Valentine's Day, we leave you with one of his timeless love songs, America. And that takes us to what's trending. Adovia Saris in the studio. Adovia.
Maame, you know there's a rule in fashion that says if you don't know about it, don't criticize it or don't make mockery of it. With that said, you and I know that Fugu will definitely be in the trends. Now, with all that has gone on, Ghanaians are excited. But let me ask you, have you thought of the possibility of Fugu makers making more money out of this?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So
definitely.
you have, Kojo Jones says something very interesting on X. He says, when someone is blessed, it's John Dramani Mahama. Okay. His dressing alone is bringing business to Ghanaian Fugu makers. He wrote a long script, but then basically what he's saying is that if the Zambian president gets to wear the Fugu, his people will also be attracted to buy Fugu from us.
Yes.
And why? So many people are excited.
In fact, I have to get one.
Yeah, me too. Maybe I'll look funny in it, but it's okay. So many people are excited and expressing optimism about how the war has gone so far. So someone says we're forgiving Zambia, case closed. And then Unique says if you can't beat them, just join them. So basically, that's what we're talking about on trends.
Indeed. Thank you, Adovia. Sorry for that. And that's how we end the new bulletin here on Joy 99.7 FM. Up next is Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otoville.